Alrighty then, let's go to part 3. Now, as you go through part 3, it's very important that you understand the Yahoo group. You've already been invited through your very first email from us. So we're going to reference that a lot. So be sure you ask questions of your sponsor if you're confused about that or want to know how to get on. And then you notice in this first slide, it's all about sharing Scentsy. These are the top proven strategies that myself and your fellow teammates have utilized throughout the last 3 years to boom their Scentsy sales. So look at all of those. Go to your new consultant guide that you got in your kit. It breaks down the 3 most popular ones, but I think the most authentic one is a basket party. And if you're not sure what a basket party is, oh my goodness, it is worth checking into. It's like a basket of 80 employees. So do your due diligence. Find out about them through our trainings on the Yahoo group. We have an awesome training center that you want to capitalize on. The hosting rewards you may already be familiar with because you may have gotten introduced to Scentsy through a Scent event. Well, let's just highlight a magical challenge. I challenge all my hosts to a $500 party, just for whatever it's worth. If they don't get it, no big deal. Scentsy's magic party number is $150 minimum. But paint a picture. If your host has a $500 party, then he or she will achieve 15% in free products. So 15% of $500 is $75. That's $75 free. Plus, he or she will get 3 half-price items. Well, what a beautiful reward in itself, but why not turn that into a recruiting opportunity for yourself and say to that host, you know, you just had a $500 party, why don't we turn this into a launch? You are halfway to becoming certified, plus you've already earned your Shooting Star starter kit. That's your 10 warmers for $200 that we talked about earlier. So just an idea for promoting your Scentsy business, because you want to start getting to that stage where you are building your team. And then look at the very bottom where it has our booking reward. This is where the host gets a half price item from any and every person that books a party from her party. So if she goes to that party, then she gets a half price item. I don't make them go. They can just simply order from that party. Again, please don't hesitate to ask. We're all about sharing, and take each one of these different trainings in stride with your own business, because it's all about you. Now, rank advancements. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about it because we've kind of already covered essential, and we've already talked about certified at $1,000. But look in your new consultant startup guide in the back of it. It talks all about these rank advancements. It's also in your handbook. And these are all going to make a lot more sense as you live through them, either through yourself or through your sponsor. Ask, 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 okay? We are here from you. That's the beautiful thing about Team Magnificent. Oh, do we need to go back? Sorry, so fun.
Each of these, we go through each one of these in detail in the compensation plan presentation. So take some time to go through that, and you'll get very comfortable, I think, with each one of these different levels. And really, all you really need to think about is the next one you're trying to advance to, and then learn about the next one, and then advance to that one. And that's a great way for you to go and grow.
Now building your team. I get so excited about this part.
Okay, this is probably the most important aspect of your Scentsy business, because from a financial growth perspective, this is where you get the biggest bang for your buck.
I'm telling you guys, this is good juice.
So the concept here that I wanted to lay out, and we cover this in much greater detail in the Director's Drive presentation, along with the Big Bucks Oops presentation, which you'll want to go through both of those as well.
Through the Yahoo group.
Yeah, there's a link to the online training center on the Yahoo group. But the idea here is to show the compounding effect. So, for example, let's say you add one person here. This is your recruits that you're adding here. You're adding one a month, let's say, for 6 months. So you've added 6 people to your team. Well, if each one of them, 6 down here. So if each one of them then adds 1 each month, and and you're training them, of course, or introducing them to the Team Magnificent training such that everybody's thinking, okay, I want to add recruits just like you are. So if you're building your team that way, where you're adding one and they're adding one, and as they add people, they add one, you start to see how this multiplies. And in fact, in 6 months, you would have over 60 people on your team. So important concept to understand how, you've only added 6 people, but you got 60 people on your team. How can that happen? It's this compounding, multiplying effect that can really drive the number of people that you have on your team.
And you know what? This is real. These aren't just facade numbers. We have proven team members who have grown exponentially through the multiplier effect because of a lot of the training and sharing that we do and the support system that you have with Team Magnificent.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do, whether Sensi knows it or not, with Sensi success. And for example here, this is the consultant map here of the number of Sensi consultants as of the end of 2008 by the different states. And you can see how, the original idea was started in Utah, and then Orville bought the company and turned it into a direct selling business in Idaho. And you can see how those early states are ahead of the rest of these states across the country. Well, all of those states are going to be playing catch up now because they've had the earliest start. And just imagine the opportunity in all of these states everywhere across the country. So think about where you know people, where you have friends, relatives, colleagues, people you know anywhere across the United States, because the earlier you are at getting those states started or getting early on in growing those states, the more people you're going to have on your team just by the nature of that multiplier effect.
And look at it, you guys. I really look at these numbers. This makes me drool in excitement because all of these humongous major states that have a way higher capita than Idaho and Utah, for example, California, Florida, and New York, they are the top direct selling states in our country, and we've barely even touched them. So if you have a friend or a family member or a colleague or a former coworker, anybody you know who can even connect you to somebody in these outskirt states, get them on board. You've got to at least ask them, because if you don't, I promise you somebody else will ask them to join Sensi, and then you're going to feel like you shoulda, coulda, woulda. Do not be afraid of no. Think of your downline multiplier effect and where you could go with that throughout the United States.
And that's a super point. If you think about it on a per capita basis, just imagine what the numbers can look like when you get outside of Idaho and Utah. Okay, now, so how can you get recruits?
So getting recruits, one of my favorite things to do is to buddy up with someone. And that means, did you just join Sensi, a couple of days ago, and that's why you're listening to this training? Well, great. You know what? Get a buddy to join with you right away. There's a lot of power in getting that buddy on board because you can learn and grow together. You share each other's ideas. You learn the workstation. You get to go through all of these. We come to celebrations together, and you share product eventually. Many, many benefits. So when you get a recruit, encourage them to recruit a buddy. Then the next thing is that any Scent event that you possibly go to, always have a door prize slip. Now, I didn't think about this when I first started my business, but I can tell you now I do not do any event without a door prize slip. And these exact samples are on our Yahoo group for you to download and use. But notice how one of the questions on there is to let them know about the business opportunity. Huge, huge question right there. Great segue for you to lead up to getting recruits. And then the next thing that you want to kind of ponder for your recruiting is this beautiful, we call it your recruiting tree or a building tree. And this was from another team member. And just in a nutshell, look at all of the different ideas that she came up with the very first week that she joined Sensi. It says her sisters, her sister-in-law, she just went through and named her family members, and then she also named who her family members could recruit. So not only was she putting her own ducks in a row, she was giving the power of suggestion to her new recruits that she wanted to get on board, so it eased them into it and got them immediately thinking about recruiting.
And this is really a powerful little concept. In fact, the person who came up with it became a director in 2 months. So she had great success in getting her people on board and then convincing them. So think about how you want to use this.
On to part 4.